Good evening. Hello, good evening. Can everyone hear me? If you're excited for this new Parks, let's give it a round of applause. Before we get started, we want to be respectful of everybody's time. We have about an hour here, and want to thank Just Love Coffee for being our host. I want to introduce a couple of people to you. Scott Hefner, if you will stand, our District Commissioner, District 3 Commissioner Scott Hefner. Also have, what is his wife's name again? Sheree Hefner, but
Yeah, well, I call her the Duchess of District 3.
Duchess of District 3. She always blushes, right?
Yeah, she does.
You're winning her over there. Jennifer Mullally over here to the corner, also a District Commissioner in District 4. The aforementioned Ray Justice, also District 1 Commissioner here. I think that does it for our elected body. Rocky Lee, the one who would want to name this building after maybe one day, back there. And also Melinda Troutman, also his Deputy Parks Director. Also want to recognize Tracy and Annette Vitella, and I'm told all the kids are working today, so the Harlan family as well. Hopefully we tip well tonight. And then certainly last but not least, Tina Hudson-Pillar, our Parks Board member, also on hand tonight. Rocky, am I missing anybody that's on your Parks Board? You working hard? Okay, all right. Hopefully I did not miss anyone. Jennifer.
He's got a drink, Jennifer.
Okay.
We have 7 Jennifers in the room tonight. So.
Awesome. Well, you know, when you schedule these things, you meet with the owner and you say there could be 10 people, there could be 60 people. And I think we're closer to that number of 60 tonight. If we want to, tonight, let's first off, Ray, if you want to tell them a little bit about the genesis of why we want to do this Parks, and really, as you told News 2, why it's time to have something like this, because Rocky and Melinda do a great job with our community center, but we've maxed out there, and we're looking for more quality of life here in the city of Mount Juliet.
And I will tell you that the reason we're doing this is because Tina Hudson-Pillar told me we were going to do it. That's the end of it. Many years ago, when I first got into the city government side of things over here in Mount Juliet, my first role here was I was the chairman of the Parks Board. David Wayne was our first elected mayor, and David asked me to build a community center in Mount Juliet. At the time, we had football fields where Charlie Daniels Park is, and we had a softball field. That was pretty much it. So we sat down and figured out how we were going to rebuild what is now the community center that you see in Charlie Daniels Park, and started off for the first couple of years. There was probably 30 people that went for the first year. It was kind of sad. We were worried. Since that time, and I don't know what the numbers are, but I will tell you that first we had Dennis McKinnon, then we had Rocky Lee as our Parks Director, and the amazing job that Rocky and his park staff does. Now, this what you're seeing is a culmination, and it's a testament to what Rocky's been able to do in our parks for our quality of life and our parks and recreations in the city of Mount Juliet. So, if you would, please give Rocky a big hand for all he's done. Over a period of years, sitting on the city commission, after getting the park built, building the community center, I have heard we wanted a pool. We've heard it numerous times. Matter of fact, there are people that were on the city commission that got so sick of hearing it, and they're no longer on the city commission. One of them recently, not very long ago, made the comment that they didn't want parks to be a bunch of babysitters. That's what they thought we had, and what a pool would be. I completely disagree, and I have decided, and threw it out here to my friends on both sides of me here, Commissioner Hefner and Commissioner Mullally. They jumped on board. Commissioner Trevette and the Mayor James Manis jumped on board as well, and we passed a resolution unanimously to move this thing forward to give y'all a new recreation center with an indoor pool, gymnasiums, pickleball courts, tennis courts, things like this. We had the land that we purchased throughout the process, and Rocky Lee has actually helped me put together a plan to finance that. So we're looking at building a 50,000 square foot building somewhere in that area for you guys. Now, For that to happen and for it to be successful, it has to be what you want. All right? By the way, I'm 61 years old. I'll be 62 on Saturday. When they kicked me out of St. Thomas Hospital 61 years ago, they sent me to Mount Juliet. I've never been anywhere else. My pool was Cedar Creek. Right? It was a flat bottom little John boat that was 10 foot long with an aluminum John boat that I could carry to the creek when I was 7 or 8 years old. And that's what we grew up with. That was our quality of life, and it was great. I loved growing up here. You guys have moved here because we invited you here with the quality of life that we provide for you, and we want to make it better for you. And that's what we're doing up here tonight. We want your input. We want you to tell us what you want, and we're going to center it around asking questions. Give us your input. If you've got questions about financing, how we're going to do that, you can ask those things. You can ask Commissioner Mullally or Commissioner Hefner, either one, their thoughts on it. You're going to get a unanimous. We just want to get it done for you guys. So that being said, what I'm going to do at this point is to ask you, start raising your hands. Rocky, if you'll walk around and kind of point to folks and help us out with that, as they raise their hands.
I think we've mentioned Rocky enough where we need to hear from him at least a little bit on this. Rocky, come up here, please. I know you can broadcast. We're wired. You've seen me with a wireless mic. It doesn't work out well. Real quick, before we get to questions, the district commissioner here, Scott Hefner, if you want to piggyback on that and tell us a little bit of your thoughts on this vantage point, we'll get Commissioner Mullally as well, and then we'll leave some time for questions as well. We'll have plenty of time for questions. They'll all be answered before you leave here, I promise.
No, I appreciate that, Justin. Can you hear me out there? Yeah, there we go. My wife always tells me to speak into the mic. I don't know if you can't hear me. But first of all, I appreciate everybody coming out. It really means a lot to me. It means a lot to us. And this is really about something that government typically does. They build something and then put it out there and they just expect everybody to come. We're doing it differently. We want to hear from you. This facility is going to be for your kids, for your grandkids. And we don't want to operate in a vacuum and come up with ideas that we think that your children and your grandchildren are going to want to enjoy. So that's really the main purpose of this, and we may have one or two, maybe a dozen more to gather more input. So this is not us sitting in a vacuum creating it. This is genuine. We want to hear what the citizens of Mount Juliet want to see in this facility. So first and foremost, that's the purpose of this meeting. Do appreciate everybody coming out here tonight. Look forward to all the input. I don't know if Justin's recording this or not, but hopefully somebody's taking notes. It's on camera.
Right
so
there, my man.
This is not just fluff. We're actually going to record this, and we're going to document every request, and we're going to take it back. Park Department's going to review it, and we're going to decide based on the input tonight what's actually going to go in the facility. So, with all that being said, Justin, turn it back to you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Mullally, if you want to chime in real quick as well, and then we're going to have Rocky serve as our host, moderator / parks director. He'll be at a central point. We'll let you all fill some questions so we can hear them. Commissioner Mullally.
Okay, thank you. I've been here 40 years and I'm still trying to learn how to say Mount Juliet.
It is spelled Juyet. I don't know where y'all got the L from.
Mount Juliet. So anyway, yeah, this used to be my district, and so anyway, I appreciate everybody coming out and for Just Love for hosting this and for everyone giving you their business, doing some business tonight, and appreciate your staff for being here as well. And agree that we want to hear from you what you're interested in, and this is on the ground, like the ball is rolling, so it's important to get in now and get your input in on the front end, and we want to include you. You're important. You're a part of this, and I'm personally so excited to be on the commission at this time because I've always felt like the city needed a pool for one thing, and then since I started playing pickleball, that's important to me, and as well as everything else, and the requests that I've had, basketball and lots of other things too, volleyball, lots of other things too. So anyway, again, I just appreciate everyone's here. We'll get started.
Commissioner Mullally last night asked y'all to come here and buy food, so I think they did a good job. They showed up in droves. Rocky, let's hear some commentary from you first, and then we'll field some questions.
Hey guys, I appreciate y'all coming out. This has been a lifelong dream of the Parks Department. I know a lot of you think that the city's been fighting on this pool thing. We haven't. We've been going right along with you. We want the pool. We need the gyms. And this is something we've been praying for. And we finally got a body up there, elected body, that's gonna push it through with us, and we're really grateful for that. So if you want to get started, we're burning time. We only probably got about 50 minutes. Has anybody got any questions? All right, come here. What's your name, young man?
I'm Ken Koch, and this is embarrassing, but where is this place going to be?
It's going to be in Lafayette, Tennessee, is where we're going to
I knew there was something.
be. It's going to be on Clements Road. If you know where the new WEMA station is on Clements Road, right across from Elite Gymnastics, there's 14 acres that the City Commission purchased. Part of that was to go to Public Works, and then we decided that we like parks better. So that's East Division Street, down in that area. Yes, sir. Yes,
It's
sir.
between East Division and Curve Road, about halfway between those two on Clinton. Who else got a question? What's your name, young man?
Jared, what's the estimated timetable on getting breaking ground and getting it completed?
We're hoping next year.
Yeah, of course, yes, we are hoping that does never happen. What we're looking at first, we have a series of a process that we're going to go through. The process obviously is gaining information, getting input. We have two companies here in Mount Juliet, one being Civil Site Design Group that is offering their services at a discounted rate later on, but right now they're offering their services free to give us an initial footprint, what it was going to look like. Then Sam Anderson Architects, has donated his services to begin the building process and how the layout would be on the inside. So we're looking at that first. We're kind of going about this backwards, and then we're going to try and figure out what we can afford and put it together based on what y'all want and marry that idea. And so you're probably looking at 6 months maybe before we get to that point, to the point where we can actually put a price tag on it. Then we have to pass it through the city commission, and then once we get it passed through the city commission, then we can let the construction people go. So you're probably looking at a couple of years down the road. Yes, Commissioner Mullane just reminded me, there is mass grading that has to take place on the entire 14 acres. And with that, we actually passed money in this past budget for that mass grading through the Public Works budget, because they're also doing some building over there. So that actually takes away from what we're going to have to actually spend for the building. So it kind of puts us in a good spot. Now, you're probably looking at $1.5 million to $2 million mass grading that would actually be going into that site.
Okay, guys, I got a young lady here. What's your name and what's your question?
Lynn. So first of all, thank you for having us. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. I'm most interested in an indoor lap pool. That opens at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning for adult lap swim before work. That offers water aerobics classes and swim lessons, year-round swim lessons for the children as they grow. So that's really what I'm most interested in.
And you said an indoor lap pool?
Pool or lap swim.
Swim laps.
Yeah, locker rooms and similar to what's out in Lebanon, but newer, better, cleaner.
Everything in Mount Juliet is better than what it is in Lebanon.
There you go. Thank you.
Now, sir, you got a question?
Yeah, my question is more for you guys. How many of you guys grew up swimming? Okay, how many of you guys feel like learning to swim at a young age, being in the swim teams during the summer was a formative part of who you are today? Agreed. My daughter's about to graduate from Wilson Central, so I don't care. Like, it's not going to affect my kids. It's going to affect her kids and everyone else who's moving into all these new developments that are going back behind my neighborhood over in Sterling Woods. I love swimming. I'm 56 years old. I still compete in Senior Olympics. Just had the knee replacement done. I'm ready to get back out and break 50 again in the 50 freestyle. I broke it in December with the bad knee, not able to do the foot turn. I love Alex, Coach Alex, and the team out there in Lebanon. We need something that's next level here, is my opinion. We can't afford what Ensworth has. If you've taken your kids to swim meets in Huntsville with the dual pools and the massive scoreboards, I would love to see maybe Under Armour or some big company sponsor something like that. I don't think the tax base of our community can handle something like that. Maybe it can. Look what Louisville has with their indoor tracks. If you have a kid who runs, you know what I'm talking about there. There's a lot of big things that if we do it right, I don't want us to get on the other side of the excitement of the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, where all the young kids that are moving in, that are overwhelming Rutland and Gladeville and the new West Wilson. All these kids are excited to be the next Kitty Ledecky, Michael Phelps, or whoever the next generation is, the kid Walsh and the NAC swim team. All those kids are going to be excited about swimming come 2028. I don't want us to have a 3.5 foot deep competition pool. I love what she was talking about, indoor. I'll be the guy that, I need a job, I'm between right now. I'll be the guy there at 4:45 in the morning. I used to do morning radio. I'll be there at 4:45 in the morning, so at 5 a.m. you're ready to go. I'll help with the aerobics classes. But we need pools that are deep enough for the competition that are 6 feet deep. We still need the play pool for all the new people, the people who maybe didn't grow up swimming, who need to learn. We need it to be safe. We don't want a high barrier for entry. If you're not a swimmer, it's going to be tough for you. We want a little bit of both.
Do you work for free?
Dude, I have been the last 22 months since I lost my job at Westwood One.
You're hired. You're good.
No, but seriously, I am passionate about fitness. I was doing triathlons till my knee just gave out on me. I believe that this community is worth the extra investment. So let's not cut a corner. So when we get to 2032, we're going, why did we not take that one extra step? Why don't we have all these meets that could be coming and providing revenue? Like, if you're not aware of Huntsville, we can talk about it separately. Plenty more people, I'm sure, have a lot to say. But if you grew up swimming like I did, and you love the deep pools, and you love what Ashley and her team at NAC have built, and some of the other master's programs, the MTSC group, that could be right here in our backyard. We just have to we have to give them the details they don't know about swimming, so that we have the Colorado timing systems, all the stuff that they might not be versed in. So if you're as passionate about that as I am, let's get this done.
Thank you.
She's had her hand up a little bit.
Where?
Like,
Come here. Come here.
Okay, awesome.
Hey, here we go. Which court? Like running on the court. Where do you get to?
So I actually grew up in Franklin, but was in Colorado for 17 years, and we had a dream center about 5 minutes from us. I'm sure that we don't have the funds to do all of this. Obviously, I have no idea, but this center included the indoor pool that we're talking about for the laps, a recreational pool, an indoor playground like Chick-fil-A took out with a child watch area, 2 NHL rinks. I know that my son is a hockey player, and the fitness area and a place for people to work. So any of those things, I know Sam Anderson, I just sent him the text and was like, try to build this. But any of that, I think, would be a value here, especially, I know we have McDonald's, but like Chick-fil-A, taking all those out and having an indoor playground with child watch would be a dream too. Thank you. And hockey.
Thank you, ma'am. Who we got right here?
Hello, I'm brand new to Mount Juliet. My family moved here from northeastern Ohio in July, and I have 3 competition swimmers. And as we were looking at communities, we looked. A pool was at the very top of our list for things that we needed for our family, and we looked really hard at Brentwood because of Excel Aquatics. We wanted to be in an area where we could have easy access to a competition pool for our kids, and we found MTSC. All 3 of my girls are currently swimming for MTSC. And for any of you who have kids at Stoner Creek or West Wilson, I have to be at school at 2:15 to start the process of picking up my children to be in Lebanon by 4:15, 3 days a week for swim practice. And for dual income working families, that's really hard, but I have 3 swimmers who are passionate about swimming and who love it. And swim families will find swim teams, and swim teams will rent practice space. The Jimmy Floyd Center is great, but there are 6 teams practicing right now, right there. And so our middle school team is only practicing Saturdays and Sundays because that's where the lane space is. And some nights there are multiple teams practicing there. So it could be a revenue builder for us. We're not NAC, we won't be able to build NAC, but to be able to have 10 lap lanes with a flex wall where you can go from meters to yards for USA swim competitions, where you have 6 foot, but probably 12 foot, or put in the diving wall and also attract some of the college teams that are looking for diving space. Those rental fees can really help us from the longevity standpoint. I would also love to see an inclusive playground, not an ADA accessible playground, but an inclusive playground. And there are some national guidelines and international guidelines for principles of 7 inclusive play principles, where we're looking at things like playgrounds that are good, not just for kids with disabilities, but for senior citizens also, who are looking for a way to get out there and be active in a safe environment where you're not dealing with mulch, where maybe you have the swings and the parkour kind of things that you can use if you're 65 years old, or you've just had a knee replacement and don't want to start on the gym equipment yet. And there's some really cool designs out there to look for inclusive play. So I'd love to see that.
You don't have eyes in the back of your head. I'm just trying.
No, I appreciate it, brother. Let me get over here and do this way. Come here, man.
First of all, I want to say thank you for finally throwing this out there and really pushing it. I'm going to piggyback off her. My daughter is a swimmer. No, I don't know if she'll be in the 2028 Olympics, but I'd like for her to have an opportunity. So right now we do get in the car line really early at Green Hill High School to drive to Lebanon for a 4:15 practice. So I'm here for the kids that are going to be swimming later, because this is not going to do anything for my daughter either. But that is one of the most underfunded things in Wilson County as a whole. It's a swim club. It's not funded by the school system. So looking to Mount Juliet City to provide our kids with an opportunity to participate and be competitive in this program that is not funded by the school system. So an indoor pool, lap pool, outdoor pool, again, there are fees that are paid. We pay them to Jimmy Floyd for our kids to go there and practice and for us to have meets. So I just want to voice it for the kids that we really, really need to have that here for them as well.
Thank you, man.
Let me, real quick, something I've learned going through this process is that the TSSAA does not recognize swimming as a sport. And so what they've done, what you're telling us is, and exactly what I've learned, they have set up clubs, and you can join these clubs in each individual high school, whether it be Mount Juliet, Wilson Central. I just said Juliet. Did you hear that? That's Mount Juliet. Yeah. But the Wilson Central, Mount Juliet, Green Hill, Lebanon, those all have swim clubs, and that's my recollection. They all go to Jimmy Floyd in Lebanon.
Yes, they do.
And so this is going to give them an opportunity also for us to share with the school system an opportunity. We don't, by law, we are not allowed to participate financially in anything that the county does where it comes to the schools. None of our funding from the city of Mount Juliet can go to the schools or to the county. Just like they can't do anything within our municipality, they can't dedicate any money. So this pool will give us an opportunity to help the school systems, not just Mount Juliet or just Green Hill, but actually Wilson Central, Lebanon, some of the others, that there's an opportunity to share the wealth, if you will.
Come here, Lynn.
We'll snack.
My name is Jessica, and we've lived in Mount Juliet for 10 years now. I have 5 children. My youngest son is physically disabled. He's a wheelchair user. He will be dependent on our care for the rest of his life. And some things that he's only 8 right now. So we, right now, some things that we're involved in and want to advocate for here are some adapted sports and activities, and the fully inclusive playground, private family changing spaces with lifts for changing tables. I have access to or information about grants for those that can help with the cost of an adult size changing table.
Basically an overall universal and inclusive design that will benefit, like someone said, elderly people, people who are recovering from surgery, disabled people in the community of that. And as I mentioned, my son will be in our care for the rest of our lives. So we will not just need it for when he's little, for little kid stuff. So as he grows and we get older, we're going to need some of those things that will help me as a caretaker, help him to interact with the community. He is full of life, loves people, loves interacting, loves doing all that kind of crazy stuff. And so really making sure that there are accessible and inclusive activities for him to participate in and to be really included in the community. And one thing that I would love to see is a wheelchair swing that we can just drive his chair up onto the swing and lock it in, and he can just swing in that instead of me having to transfer him. So those are some things that are really, really important to me as a mother of a disabled child, and I'm sure that there are other people in the disabled community that would also love to have some more, accessible features that would make them truly feel welcome in the space.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Rocky.
Right here.
Hi, my name is Sabrina, and I've lived in Mount Juliet, as long as I can remember. But I'm here representing the Special Olympics of Area 27, which happens to be our Wilson County community. And as several of these other people have mentioned, our biggest problem is expanding, because as the community expands, so does our kids with special needs. And we have to tell, especially our younger kids that are just trying to get involved, that we have nowhere to practice. We have no practice fields. We have to beg and borrow churches, and then sometimes we get, that they've got to have it for something else. So we have the hardest time just finding practice places for us. And I'm hoping with this new development, there will be basketball courts and even swimming and volleyball and stuff like this, that we don't have to worry about expanding and growing to be as big as Metro, because we can. We just don't have the facilities available at this time to do that. So I would like y'all to take that into consideration when you do this.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that.
Any more questions? Come here, you ready?
This kind of piggybacks with a child. My husband had Alzheimer's, passed away last year, but the main thing we really enjoyed doing, I could take him to the pool, because that was something to try to keep him moving. Jimmy Floyd does have 2 dressing rooms, but I have to either go through the men's side to a family dressing room or the women's side to a family dressing room, so I don't really know which to do. But even in that space, there's no place to sit, there's just, it was really awkward. So I also encourage not just one space for an adult or special needs child, but a couple of spaces that men and women both can go. Also, I live behind North Green Hill High School. Half of my subdivision is county, half of it is city. Just depends on where the sidewalks are, where you
Cambridge
are.
Crossing.
Cambridge Crossing.
That's my district.
And
Appreciate your vote.
And I want Jimmy Floyd. I pay $5 to go in. I don't know how we're going to fund this. I think it's an awesome idea. I'm not opposed to paying a fee. I don't know if everybody's thinking, well, it's going to be free, but if it's not, I'm fine. I want to have a membership or whatever. So.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let me tell you, that is one of the things that we're working on right now is a membership program. Rocky and Melinda Troutman, our Assistant Deputy Director of Parks, they are going to be working up a program where there will be a membership, because while we have a funding mechanism for the biggest portion of it at this point, we have not come up with a program for the operational side of it. And so it will be a membership fee. What we do want to make sure is that we don't price this out to where somebody can't afford to get in there, because they would like absolutely let me go ahead and clarify something. I had somebody bring this up the other day and said, well, operations budget is down this year. And so how are you going to build a community center? Well, the Parks and Recreation's budget for capital improvement programs comes from hotel motel tax. Now that was passed in 2007. I put that on there. Somebody remember Ed Haggerty was on there with me, and we passed that. That funding mechanism, we actually brought in $150,000 and we were tickled to death. We thought, wow, we have hit the big time. We're getting $150,000 from the hotel motel tax. What I didn't know, I would like to say that I was really intelligent and I knew what was going to happen, but I didn't. I'm not that smart. Now we're getting $1.6 to $1.8 million from that hotel motel tax. We've been able to buy lots of park property that we can enhance our parks throughout the city. But this is the mechanism that we want to use to do a bond issue to pay for about $14 million of this project. And none of that would come out of your pockets as taxpayers. That comes out of the tourists when they come to Mount Juliet State or motels. They will be paying that. So that's where the money's coming from. And so anybody says, oh, well, they can't afford to do such things. No, that's not the case at all. Completely different fund, has nothing to do with the general operation budget. Rocky, go ahead.
Young man, here you go.
Thanks. Really encouraged to hear the inclusive asks around Special Olympics and that. But one thing that they said a couple times, I just want to make sure that we hammer. There's grants out there for all of this. You heard the grants about the inclusive. There's grants for tennis courts. The USTA will pay up to 50% for you to put new tennis courts in. So have we explored hiring grant writers? Because this isn't something that cities and counties can do on their own. Hire grant writers to go after all of these grants to fund these aspects. So that's question one. I think we definitely need to do that because that's free money. Use the rest of it elsewhere to improve this. Two, one thing that I've seen having lived here for over 30 years is we think about the now. We think about the now, but we forget the ongoing costs. So I would like to see and understand how we are going to maintain the facility and have very clear, because somebody said Jimmy Floyd, they want it nicer than that. I think about the Centennial Complex downtown. If anyone's been there, it's run down and costs a lot to keep up. So what are we going to do to make sure that we maintain that high level of excellence that we're all expecting to be put in there and make it continue to be a draw?
I'll pass the microphone back and forth. I will tell you, first of all, as far as the grants, because we've got 2 people on staff that are capable and do write grants for us on a regular basis. I'm a retired police officer. One of my jobs as a police officer is I wrote grants. So I'm very, very familiar with the grant process, writing process, and how that operates. We also get numerous grants from Tennessee Department of Transportation for, like, for instance, sidewalks, lighting, things of that nature in the road. So we do take advantage of all the grant opportunities.
Getting a government grant for like that is very different than going after private.
I wrote grants, not only, I got grants from the tobacco industry for 4-wheelers for the Wilson County Sheriff's Department. That tells you anything. So, yeah. That's right. So, but that is an excellent point. You're right. As far as the maintenance, Rocky will take care of that. They will come up with a maintenance program. Yeah.
Hey, Ray, I want to mention real quick, our owners here, give them the chance to plug their menu and let them order something again, because while we got
please.
30 minutes to still talk, the kitchen's not going to stay open all night. So, Tracy and Annette, if y'all give it up for our great hosts and beautiful owners. Our question to you, tell them a little bit about your story, but first, if you could tell them what you're cooking on this limited menu back here, and just your appreciation for the great crowd.
Yeah, no, we were super excited to host Mount Juliet City anytime, all the time. Me and my sister, my brother-in-law, who's back there, right there, wave, Michael. We love this city, and tonight we're cooking chicken quesadillas, grilled chicken croissant. Chicken salad croissant. I know a lot of chicken Caesar salads went out tonight as well. We have a full menu, but tonight we just did limited, and then our baked potato and our full decaf and regular coffee and lattes and all the good stuff that you need to wake up in the morning. You want to take it?
I'm very excited that you all are here. I'm the quiet sister here, but it's exciting to see you all here. We were super happy to be offered to host this, and so we have a full house, and that makes our hearts full.
Yeah, she's she's the quiet sister, so when Justin texted me and said, get up here so we can talk, she said, you talk. I said, duh.
Give it up for them. As you see all the kids back there, they have a lot of mouths to feed. So patronize tonight and patronize often. And y'all do a lot of stuff with the police department at the end of the year and very charitable. So you buried the lead. Tell them about that.
So last year, we received a commission. We did it, and we fed 200 people for free during Thanksgiving week. And we are hoping to double that this year to feed 400 people. And we are partnering with McKinney-Vento this year. If you all aren't familiar with McKinney-Vento, that's the homeless community, teenagers in our schools, in our backyards, right in front of our faces. So we're excited, super excited to partner with them, and of course the elderly community and people who live in those big, beautiful houses that it's just hard, right? It doesn't matter what level, we just want to feed the community and come together. And we'll be doing that the Tuesday, the same week of Thanksgiving. So everyone's welcome. You'll be hearing a lot about that this coming week as we are starting to share it, and we're partnering with MJPD again and Mount Juliet Health Center, and we'll be giving those out to all baskets that go out and groceries that go out with Mount Juliet Health Center. So super excited for that this year.
Good food and good stories really pulls at your heartstrings, makes you want to eat here. I know a misconception, I know I have one myself. You think of Just Love Coffee, the national brand, you're like, that's a chain, they're not locally owned, but y'all are locally owned. Same for Chick-fil-A with Ray Daniel, that is locally owned. So really get to know your owners and shop local, as we preach a lot in Mount Juliet. I know that they appreciate that. And something we've talked about too, the months of June and July and even January, the months with J are slow for local businesses just by nature. So if you think about maybe getting something from Amazon, if you want to keep a dream alive and feed kids and shop local and keep these tax dollars here to be able to, as we mentioned, the maintenance of a parks like this, do that. So if you think about that, try to be cognizant of that decision. Commissioner Hefner, Commissioner Lately, we haven't heard a lot from y'all. Y'all want to chime in a little bit?
No, I actually do want to. I heard a couple of mentions of grants. If you haven't, I'll put this out to everyone. Bureaucracy is unfortunately a necessary evil in government, especially when it comes to grants. So if you have any experience or background or history or knowledge in assisting the city, cutting through some of that red tape, come up to one of us, give us your name, address, phone number if you're willing to help us maneuver through that bureaucracy, red tape. We would welcome that. So that goes for everyone. I know there's a couple of mentions of grants. So we welcome the opportunity to work with you and guide us through that process. So that was one thing. And as far as funding, obviously the corporate, we have one of the largest apparel companies that's here in Mount Juliet, Under Armour. I know they've reached, they're in my district, SIVA and several other large Amazon. They've reached out to me to express interest in donating or sponsoring a youth center. So I'm already in the works of talking to them. We first got to get our hands on what the ask is going to be, and the ask is going to be how much is this going to cost and what are the operating expenses to keep this running. So, but we've already identified some good companies, big corporate sponsors that are willing to step up and help offset some of that cost. So that's good news, and I've just started. So the funding is obviously very important. So a big part of that, as Commissioner Justice mentioned, is going to come from the hotel motel tax, which is going to fund it, but also corporate sponsors, grants, memberships. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know if you can work through free to Mount Juliet residents and maybe a fee for outside of Mount Juliet. I don't know if you guys talked through that or not. I wouldn't think so, but yeah, because we've got to get our hands around the cost first so we can determine what that is. Get more hands on it. That was it.
Just a couple of requests I have in addition to what's been announced is we also have a big portion of the city that plays badminton. So they also have requested to make sure that's on the calendar, like in the gym for badminton time. And if there is any additional time in the current community
understand, and I want to understand, we got one public gym, we got 1,700 members out of the city of Mount Juliet that's trying to use that. We got pickleball, volleyball, basketball, men's league basketball. So our gym time is really, for the members, is really small. But I got a young man here who wants to ask a question, and I'll get to you out.
Hi, it's Ken again. I know I'm bothering everybody, but the city that I lived in before I came here had a rec center, sort of what you're talking about, but on a small scale because it was part of the county. And when they built it, they were building for racquetball, for basketball, for pickleball, and someone came up with the idea of putting an indoor walking, running track. And when they found out, and I used an awful lot when I was rehabbing from different operations, that was the most used facility that they had in the center. And it was used by people of all ages. You know, people who participated in sports, elderly people, people recovering from operations, things like that. So it would really be nice if your facility would have that. But I know we don't get much rain here, so we can always be outside, and we don't get a lot of humidity, so it's usually pretty pleasant outside.
Right. Yes, sir.
One thing we've talked about too is around the rec center having an indoor walking track, like a mezzanine. So that's one thing we've been talking. Another thing too is had a real sweet couple over at Rutland Place put in their request, and some of that's already been talked to tonight about the seniors having access to the pool, and their request was for the water aerobics for seniors. So I want to make sure in case they're watching.
And again, guys, that's what tonight's all about. Just find out what the needs are of our city, what our citizens are looking for, and then what we can afford. I got another guy who's got a question right here.
Thank you, I'm Seth Zamek. I appreciate y'all doing this again tonight. I love the idea. We all obviously, everybody in this room supports the concept. Number one, number two. So have we considered, if we have not, maybe we should, well, let me put this in the form of a question. We're going to build one of these things, spend a lot of money on it. We probably won't do another one in our lifetime, right? Probably not. You're the only one, but we're not, most likely won't.
Don't try to take that microphone away from me.
So I'm thinking, we've heard a lot of good ideas. I don't know, maybe you guys have heard all these things before, but I hadn't. Some of the suggestions are really good. So the thinking here is, we're going to spend upwards of $10 to $20 million, something in that time frame. If we had, wouldn't it be good to maybe bring in like an expert?
We already.
I know we have these architects, but like an expert that has built a number of these around the country and knows the state of the art, can help us with design, help us with activities, make sure we have the right kinds of bathrooms in the right place, that has already thought about a walking track, and also has access to, because they've helped one in Colorado or Chicago, to funding sources. And maybe they know of some national companies that are interested in sponsoring. You know what I mean? Somebody who's done one of these, and maybe we spend less than 0.5% of the whole cost on bringing an expert in who can hold our hands, maybe through the whole thing, but definitely at the beginning. That's just a suggestion.
Yes. And let me go ahead and tell you that when we first started doing this, we put together a committee. Most of them are here, some of them are here. And the committee consists of people throughout the community. It's a research and development community, all right? And some of the people that are on this committee actually have expertise in that area. Plus, we've got another lady that has joined us as well, and I can't think of her name, but she works at a local, I think it's Franklin, if I'm not mistaken. It's Franklin.
Sometimes you get
And so they have done this before, so they're doing the same thing. One of the things that we have learned as a commission, Commissioner Hafner, I've heard him say this numerous times, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. So there's no reason for us to go out and do something that others have already done before. We need to learn from what they have done, and that's something that he's pushed for a long time. So, we are doing that, but it's a great input. It kind of validates what we are doing. So we appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you.
Okay, there you go.
Hi, this is Balakrishna. I'm a happy resident of Mount Juliet, And I think it's very rare opportunities that we get to provide our request, our feedback at this time. So thank you for giving us an opportunity, and thank you, ma'am, already bringing the badminton. So we understand that the current Charlie Daniels Park gym and other rooms are already, very busy through the entire year. So we would like to request if you can spare some slots in the new recreational part, maybe like 3 to 4 courts for the badminton, because we have around like 150 to 200 kids learning badminton in the Hermitage Community Center. So that can grow more, provided we have facilities. So my sincere request to you is to please consider at least 3 to 4 courts in a month and over a month, so that the kids can practice and the classes can go on. I've actually requested the coach who is running that academy, but I think unfortunately he's not here, so maybe he would have given more details there. Thank you.
Question on that. Question on that. Just is it indoor, outdoor?
It's an indoor.
Indoor pad.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for what I understand, the same marking, striping is for pickleball.
Pickleball, yes.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be a separate, additional.
When our kids go to other states, they find it very difficult to compete because they don't have facilities to practice. So if we can give our kids those facilities, definitely our kids can, top there.
Thank you, sir.
By show of hands, who plays pickleball? Just curious. I haven't played yet, so I'm looking forward to it. But
I will tell you also, we've got a youth sports community here in Mount Juliet. When I say this, I'm talking about baseball, softball, football, basketball, soccer. And one of the fastest rising sports that we've got in Mount Juliet right now is volleyball. And the outdoor volleyball courts are not sufficient for what they're trying to do. We started out with a program, TriStar Volleyball, which my daughter plays in this, and I didn't think a lot about it. I thought it was a bunch of kids smacking a ball over net, no big deal. Then I met Chip Bailey. Chip Bailey was a member of our Parks Department at one point, and then he is now running one of the fastest growing volleyball organizations in Middle Tennessee with the TriStar. So Chip's here tonight. He's really shy, by the way. But I did want to, if you get an opportunity, Chip, I'd like you to speak, tell him a little bit about the TriStar volleyball program. Okay.
So I just kind of want to speak to all the moms of small children that are moving into this community. Me and my family relocated from across the country and handpicked Mount Juliet. And so I know that I'm not alone in this. I know that we have young families moving to our community all the time. And so I just ask that you all keep that in the forefront of your mind as you're planning this, that those are the kids that are going to grow up in this community. And that they need a safe place to go as our communities continue to change. And so that can look like playgrounds that have a variety, that can tailor to a variety of ages, a variety of pools, maybe an infant pool like they have over at Providence, an area that elementary, middle school kids can play. There's the lap pools that the older kids can benefit from, but I can tell you that my 4-year-old on the spectrum will likely never use those lap pools. It's important to me that he also has access to pools at this age and when he's in high school. So all those things are important to me as we continue to raise our family in this community. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Bailey?
My dad's Mr. Bailey. I'm Chip.
You have it.
I'm Chip. I run TriStar Volleyball. I'm just one of the people involved. So I'm a gym guy. So the pool stuff is great because I love to swim, but I'm a gym guy. And it rains all the time, and it's hotter than blazes, and we need to get kids indoor, off their phone, playing sports. So I'm obviously a volleyball advocate, but I'm an all indoor sport advocate. We're going to have the pickleball people wanting pickleball. We're going to have the basketball people wanting basketball. We're going to have the volleyball people wanting volleyball. What I'd like to do is put it on record. But the only thing better than single use is multi-use. The only thing better than multi-use is simultaneous multi-use. And that means divider systems within the gyms. You can tape it off for pickleball, tape it off for basketball, tape it off for volleyball, but if you don't have dividers, you only have one group in there. And then they're all mad at each other and the facility's already obsolete. So if we have curtain systems, now in my experience in the volleyball league, we have gone in and gotten bids on retrofitting existing gyms, and it is a nightmare. So now in the design phase, that's the time. That's the time to put in separate, segregated curtain systems so we can have basketball, volleyball, and pickleball coexist together and maybe be competing at the same time in the same facility to benefit the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Hannah. I've lived here my entire 26 years of living. I went to Mount Juliet High School, swam for that high school swim team, swam for Alex at MTSC from the time I was 10, coached Mount Juliet High School for 3 years, and own a swim school in Mount Juliet where I teach anywhere from 4 months all the way through high school. We live between 2 lakes. There is not enough water for the number of kids we have in this community, and there are way too many drownings every year. And my 5 weeks that I can give them in the summer is not enough to keep them safe. I book out in March for June through July of swim lessons. And I have people in June and July begging to get their kids in because they have nowhere to swim. So we need places that little kids can practice their skills, can learn how to swim, how to save their lives if they end up in water in a situation that they could lose their life living between 2 lakes or any amount of water that we have around here. But we also need enough lap lanes for, unfortunately, we're already way behind with the Floyd. You have Mount Juliet, Wilson Central, Green Hills, and Lebanon High School, all using the Jimmy Floyd. You have 2 separate MTSC practices a day, a homeschool tutorial that uses that pool, 2 middle schools. Yep, Friendship Christian. I remember coaching kids that weren't getting out of swim practice till like almost 8 o'clock at night, getting home, trying to eat dinner, do their homework, get in bed. So are we building a pool that's big enough that as this community is growing so rapidly, that's already so behind, are we planning a pool that's going to be big enough to host 2 or 3 high schools, middle schools, and a bunch of children?
If you're asking the question, the answer is I have no idea. As of right now, we're gathering input, the size of the pool. I mean, that's what we're doing is getting information. But I want to thank you. The idea of having somebody swimming at 4 months old is amazing to me. So good job, and thank you. I would also like to say something, and this has come up on numerous occasions, and we are behind. Now, I've been on the city commission for 21 years. And I have asked for approval over and over and over again. And until I received help, I did not have the votes on the city commission to get that pool. Until I got moved away from the microphone. That's the reason he's in parks and not sound, okay? But until I got Commissioner Hafner, and until I got Commissioner Mullally and Commissioner Trevette, who is not able to be here tonight. Until these 3 got elected on the commission with me, I did not have the votes to get done what we're trying to do right now. So for Commissioner Hafner and Commissioner Mullally who are tonight, please give them a big hand and make sure you support them in every opportunity. Without them, this ain't happening, okay?
Man, you got a question?
You got 2 questions?
I have 2 questions.
You're not allowed to do that. That's right.
Are there any plans or any discussion around like a refreshment or snack bar, like with like smoothies or anything like that?
That is something that was been discussed, and we've talked about in some of the other meetings, but I mean, that's not anything that I've seen in any permanent plans or anything, so I don't know the answer to that question yet.
That's a good question, but at a minimum, I would think we would have a designated area for food trucks, since they're allowed now in our city park.
Sure, yeah.
So I don't know, I didn't need to answer that.
Talk about the new rec center?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't.
And I'm sure
the
we're
plan,
looking
but
at.
I'm sure we'll have some form of.
We were looking at a place to have a little snack bar, so between the locker.
In the plans?
In the plans.
Okay, again, Mr. Anderson, Sam Anderson put those plans together. We did talk about having a concession area, but I don't know how intense that was. Not on the inside. We're not doing any food trucks on the inside, just, that's bad.
Rocky had that question.
You got those Rocky
I'm
questions.
pretty sure Just Love Cafe has a food truck.
Speaking of which, there has been some conversation, and one of the conversations I had with the lady last night completely changed my mind about something. I've always been against having workout rooms and workout facilities because I didn't think that the city of Mount Juliet or any government agency needs to be in competition with a for-profit. For instance, Planet Fitness, 1440, Remove, whoever it may be. I didn't want the city of Mount Juliet to be in competition with them. I didn't think it's the place for government to do that. I had a lady last night talking to me. She said, well, there's actually an opportunity there to partner. So I've always liked government-private partnerships when we could do that. So the lady, and then have that conversation was, okay, well, if we build this, we can put in a workout area in there, and then we can have at least two, a for-profit, let them run. So we don't want to with having to put people in, take care of equipment and things of that nature. So that's all theirs. And they also provide sales tax to the city of Mount Juliet because we only have an 11-cent property tax. So that's something I think we lowered that, didn't we not?
Yes.
It was 15 cents and we lowered it to 11 cents. One of the only cities in the state that actually lowered their property tax. So.
On that same point too, you could potentially have like private contractors come in that do personal training, that people could sign contracts that they can use those facilities.
That would be up to the private contractor to contract with the individual company, not with the city of Mount Juliet.
Right.
Yeah, that's
offer
not
their services, right? But you guys allow
Sure.
them in that space.
Yes.
They kick back a certain percentage. But the other one, it's not a question, but the other plug would just be if there's an indoor climbing gym. I know that's probably not as high on the list for everybody, but do you want inputs on different zones?
I actually heard that. I think there's actually one coming to Mount Juliet. Oh, really? Yeah, a rock climbing business.
Then strike it from the record.
Spill the tea, come on.
I can't go into too much detail on that, but it's tied to a development that's already been approved. And it's in District 3, so.
But,
Might be somewhere around the Pleasant Grove area.
Yeah, we took a trip over to Mason, Ohio to look at their facility, and it was like off of the scale. I mean, it was so awesome. But we got a lot of ideas from it. It had things like that, but other things too. So, yeah. I mean, it was just, we got pictures, but it was just, what they had was just phenomenal. So we brought home a lot of ideas. Yeah.
We're going to have liability waivers, right?
Those will be for Rocky.
So Ian Christensen, Wilson United, you guys have seen me probably commission meetings, just hanging out. You know, I mean, Rocky's amazing. The park department, Melinda, all you guys have been doing supporting Wilson United at our exponential growth. Now that our club is actually more Mount Juliet residents than Lebanon residents, which was a huge tip for us. But I'm just kind of curious. I know all this indoor facility, that's great. Soccer specific, anything, right? So what's the external footprint of the property going to be for external sports versus internal sports? I know Trevette had said something about you guys were kind of cloning on Ohio multi-sport complex that had outdoor and indoor. Do you guys have like a ballpark of like how big outdoor space you're gonna have?
No.
Okay.
Next question. No.
I missed that field trip too.
Yeah, it was actually, and what we're talking about is no, we're not cloning Mason, Ohio. They've got a $5 property tax. So no.
Just like the footprint and the.
Yeah, right. We're not going to get that footprint with the amount of money that we've got to spend. So we have 14 acres that is there that is usable for our park. I'm thinking 4 acres of parking and the building in that area. So it leaves about 8 to 10 acres if you take the infrastructure out of that. That's going to be for pickleball. 10 pickleball courts is what we talked about. 5 tennis courts. Is there anything else? There would be also outdoor volleyball that would be available, and that doesn't leave much room for soccer or things like that, but there would be some room for like maybe some practice fields and things along those lines. There's another plan that myself and the others are talking about that I can't discuss right now, that you'll probably hear at the next meeting, that will be an opportunity for some of the youth sports organizations that you'd be able to take advantage of. We're right now, our finance director is working on that. So.
Come here, Megan.
Is there not going to be an outdoor pool? Are they just doing indoor?
Well, right now we're looking indoor. I think outdoor will be in phase 2. We're going to do this in phases, right?
Right. The first phase would be an indoor pool, lap pool, and there is a divide between the sides of it, so that it would actually be used for instance, water aerobics for some of our seniors. And, then the second phase of that would be to build an outdoor lazy river splash pad type pools. You know, it'd be multi-use, but it'd be more recreational than any kind of competition. That would be the second piece of it.
Right, I hate to tell you, we're approaching the 7:30 hour. Are we good to go?
Yes. Chairman's had his opinion on it.
They don't want you in front of the camera. Come on. I done got spoiled.
All right, I got a long way over here. All right. I guess I just wanted clarification on something you're talking about with the indoor pool. When you say like with the divider, are you talking like an Olympic-sized pool that could have like a bulkhead in the middle?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay,
bulkhead is actually the term that they used. It's not my term.
Okay.
So I'm glad you reminded me of what that was.
Okay, yeah. So it's like separate the two like 25s. Okay. I guess the other thing, and this, I'm sure you've already thought about this and people have probably talked to you about it, but just as that pool is being built, kind of like what Chip was saying about the volleyball, just making sure that, because there's a lot of pools that when they're built, there's just weird decisions made with like the blocks and the walls and the depth at different places, and they end up not being that really useful. And I just wanted to make sure a lot of research was going to be going into getting the best blocks, walls, depth, all that stuff, so it's a quality competition pool as well as a quality lap pool.
One of the things, the big questions that we're asking people, and that we've doing the research and development side of this, is instead of asking people, what would you do? We go to 11 and say, well, what would y'all do? What would you do different? That's really not the question. The question is, what would you never do again? Tell us what you think is a really horrible idea. And we've got some really good information that has come from just asking that question.
Thank you.
The only thing I wondered is you were talking about the membership, and I'm hoping that this is going to be set up more like there's a daily fee, a punch card fee, and a membership fee. I would think that would bring more money in.
Well, now we've got a good idea. I didn't think about that, so
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's something that Rocky will be taking care of, and then we're saying, now that's a day-to-day operational stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
It's being recorded, so everything that's being said is recorded.
Yes, ma'am. Come in.
Since he asked that question, my personal opinion, I know I'll probably not be with the rest of them, is I think having the workout room is a waste of space and time because there's a gym on every corner, just right by the mattress stores. So I think it's a waste of time because, I mean, who can afford $5 a month to join Planet Fitness? And I think that, that's a waste of our space.
Did you say $5 a month?
Yeah, $10, sorry, $10. That's fine. Yeah.
How old is your membership?
It is like $10 a month for 7 years.
Yeah, it's 17 now.
Yeah. It's not $10 anymore.
Any more questions out there? Come on, man.
So I'll make this brief. I teach badminton to a lot of kids in Mount Juliet.
And I wanted to find out more about what your idea of a public-private partnership, because I think the Barron community could bring some funding to a project like this. And because, I mean, there's talk about pickleball and badminton sharing the same space, but in my experience, pickleball and badminton players come at the same time. So
I don't know, when it comes to a public-private partnership, I don't think, and just one of y'all might want to come on it, we don't have any model to look at that says we're going to do it this way or that way. Right now, we just want to get this thing built. And that's the information, and kind of the way this is going to work, we're putting this information together. We take this information and then we take it to Tina Hudsonpiller over here. And we say, here Tina, take it to the Parks Board. All right. Now y'all put together a proposal for us. We want to see what the financials look like. We want to see what the building looks like. We want to see what the grounds look like. Y'all as a Parks Board, Parks and Greenway Board, put that together, and then you bring it to the city commissioners, the 5 of us. And when we do that, then we figure out the funding mechanism, and we figure out how to build it and get it done. Now we've got, in this research and development committee, we've got, I think, 11 members, and we're going to be putting this information together and sending the proposal as we see it from the research and development side to Tina and the Parks Board. Then the Parks Board is going to put together a formal proposal for the city commission. And then that's when we vote on it.
So now I understand how this
Yes,
system
sir.
works. So,
Yes, sir. But your question is a valid question because that's the information we want, and it gives us something maybe to look at a model of and try and figure out. And by the way, we do want your money. So
yeah, okay. Don't get it $30. All right, so I'll figure out how to contact. Contact you.
Numbers.
Call Rocky. I'll give you his cell number.
Yeah, call him first. Okay.
Here you go.
All right. I know who to
All
reach.
right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, I think we fielded everybody's questions tonight. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to leave you all with the final word, and Rocky, if you want a final word as well. We see the comments. Rocky, Melinda, Tina, we get the emails. These are the people with influence. They're the elected body members that are sacrificing their time and effort to serve an elected board, and they have votes on the board of what happens and what doesn't. So you can sway us all you want. These are the ones that matter. So reach out to them. They are the most responsive board of commissioners I've ever worked for, because it's the only 5 that I've ever worked for, but they're really good at it. So take them out to lunch, email them. They're super responsive, and they want to hear this because they want to get it right for you. Ray, you've said it ad nauseum. It's not the city of Mount Juliet, it's y'all's, and that's why we're asking y'all to come. And you know, we had this paper mill 2 months ago. We're like, I see maybe a couple of faces that were here. This is a new crowd, and we've had one in the paper mill. That's it, Ray's district. We've had one at Just Love Coffee for Scott. On deck is Commissioner Mullally, so we're going to find something in her district. Scott's got the fun district. We had to pick between 50 different restaurants, so highest bidder won, Just Love Coffee. Good job on that. But we're going to have another one of these. Please tell your friends to come out. Hopefully y'all come out again and just have fun and cut up. And we're going to have more of these for the Board of Commissioner meetings. We're just getting started on this. Yeah, absolutely. I just want to get that the final words from our commissioners, and we'll let y'all get on with your night.
I just want to say, definitely we want to get it right in the front end. So, as you know, we can't afford everything. So right now we don't even know what we can afford. We budgeted the money for the mass grading, which is first, and then hopefully in the next budget season next year we can put money in the budget for this once the plans and design or suggestions and all that gets rolling. So thank you again for coming.
Again, I appreciate everybody coming out. Input is invaluable. The good news is we've already got this thing well underway. One of the hardest things, I'm sure, for any municipality to build something like this is to find land. We already own the land. That's the good news. We made that decision last year, a year and a half ago, to purchase that land off of Clemens Road. So that was a huge step in seeing this and getting this thing rolling. You know, the one thing that's important to me is we want our Mount Juliet Police Department is it not the finest law enforcement agency? And to that point, we want our kids to stay in Mount Juliet. We don't want to give them a reason to go to some other municipality. Not that I'm throwing shade on any law enforcement agencies, but again, Mount Juliet PD is the absolute finest in the state. We want our kids to stay here. We want them to have a good reason to stay here. So building a youth center, somewhere where they can go, play, swim, exercise, whatever the case is going to be in the end, they're going to be in Mount Juliet. They're going to be within a very short distance from our home. So again, appreciate everybody coming out, and thanks again for your input.
So let me just say, first of all, we've got a few people that we need to thank. First of all, Rocky, Melinda, and the folks at City Hall that answered the questions and put all this stuff together. And also, Justin Beasley is our communications director. Justin, you may have seen his pretty face over here from Channel 4 News. We lured him away, and we trapped him, and we kept him in the closet for about a month. Actually, I did recruit him. And, well, we had problems, but, you know. But Justin Beasley does an amazing job as our communications director here in I want to tell you, as I did say earlier, you know, I've wanted a pool and I've wanted a bigger recreation center. As we've grown, we've outgrown what we've got. And up until 5 years ago, I did not have the support to get what we're talking about tonight. So with Commissioner Trevette, Commissioner Hafner, Commissioner Mullally, I've got the votes. So this is not just a dream that I had. This gets to be a reality because of these two sitting up here with me tonight. They deserve your respect and they deserve your honor for the service that they give to our community. And I will tell you, both of them give constantly. They also need your support, right? We need to make sure that you show them the support that they deserve to help us as a commission put this together for you. It ain't ours, it's yours. And that's the reason we're asking you the questions, to get the answers from you so that you can tell us what you want, where you want it, okay? But, I'm very, very blessed, very honored to serve on the city commission as long as I have, and now to be able to serve with these two fine people as well as the others, the mayor and Commissioner Trevette. So make sure if you do happen to see Commissioner Trevette and the mayor, it was a unanimous decision to push this. So, make sure to pat them on the back, if you would. Being a commissioner is kind of a thankless job. These two take it to the extreme, and they work really, really hard. So, give them a hand, please.
I just want to put a quick plug in for pickleballers. We have an animal shelter that has a nonprofit division that is not funded by the city. And that is when the animals in the shelter is in the care of the animal shelter, there's no money in the budget for the veterinary expenses for the animals. Recently, there were 2 cats that needed amputations, and they had to do a fundraiser to raise the money. So we don't have included in our grants for the nonprofits. That is not included. This is our 2nd annual pickleball tournament called Pickles for Pups. It's on October 5th, and that is the purpose of this pickleball tournament, is to raise the money for the veterinary care for the animals in the shelter. So just to put a plug in for that.
With that being said, again, I told you, she works really hard for the people and for the city of Mount Juliet, as does Commissioner Hafner. Please give them all the support they deserve. Thank y'all for coming out, and hopefully the next one we have, we'll be putting it out, and y'all please come back, show us the support, show us what you got.